If you're a B2B business owner, this episode could literally save you hours of wasted time and effort. We will show you how the right software can streamline your operations, optimize your marketing, and give your team the systems they need to scale faster and smarter. Last week, we kicked off our 2026 with growth in scalable systems. The key takeaway was that planning and systems give businesses momentum and reduce overwhelm. This week, we're shifting from planning to execution and exploring how the right software can make scaling smoother, faster, and smarter.
And of course, software, Chloe, as we both know, the software choice anyway is absolutely critical for prolonged business growth. And there's a couple of reasons for that. And the first one is it reduces operational friction. It can basically do a lot of the manual work for you through automation. And if you're doing lots of manual work, which a lot of our customers tend to do when we bring them on, like for instance, even creating content nowadays with the advent of AI, adding things to the CRM, which automations can do, and just doing a lot of the manual work, even using like spreadsheets and not a CRM, it just costs a lot of time and effort for the team to be doing when their time could be spent on, higher value stuff
Yeah.
or higher value tasks anyway. And this often can lead to disconnected tools as well if they are using tools, which includes, the CSV for the CRM and, using something for HR, using something for finance, using a website for something else. Then even the website, they'll maybe go to someone and pay a couple of grand for a website on Squarespace, expecting this massive growth result, which will never happen. Realise that they maybe need then some forms. They then maybe go and use a forms tool because they're not aware. Maybe the person that's helping them with a business or their website or whatever aren't aware of these different tools that can be working. They could be working together and not disconnected, which would save a lot of time and effort.
And we see that with like the sales and marketing as well, when sales is using a different system to marketing, which makes it harder to make those informed decisions for your marketing. If, your sales is saying one thing, your marketing system saying something else, and it's not aligning, makes it harder to see where the problems are.
Well, that's right. And I mean, obviously, the two different functions in a business need to work together, not
Yeah.
not within their own systems. And I've seen this before as well with especially the different CRMs, where market is using one and sales is using something completely different. I mean, that should be a single system which is unified together with both departments talking to each other. In actual fact, customer success or customer service should also be part of that group. Where it's all aligned. And but by using these unified systems, not just reduces the friction, but moves them away from a patchwork of processes, which ultimately slows business growth and moves along to a better system. And I suppose the key word there is system. And this is what we need to try and let people understand, that a lot of the growth in business comes from the systems that we create rather than getting more bodies and headcount for to actually do some of that manual work. So the right software streamlines operations and frees up the teams for high value work. The second big one is it enables operational efficiency. So integrated platforms allow automation, better data, faster campaign execution, better data enrichment. There's just a whole host of things that can provide the business for, as you say, for better BB decision making. An example of that would be one central CRM can manage leads, nurture sequences, and track conversions. And it's not only that. I mean, we're obviously building our platform to do much, much more than that, where we have Google PageSpeed, SEO tools, and lots social media posting management, reputation management, all that in the one system. And what we'll be doing with our CRM, for instance, is we'll allow our clients to have a 360 view of their customers, when they last interacted, when they were last on the website, when what did they do last, what did they download, etc., etc. And that helps us provide them with a better service. And of course, it helps them with a better user experience. And that's what every business should be aiming to do.
Yeah.
The third main big one is it gives the business a competitive advantage because most of their competitors are doing the old hat saying things, using a CSV for the CRM and tools that are that's on the computer and not in the cloud and this kind of thing. So businesses that leverage tools strategically generally move faster and make smarter decisions. There's just no doubt about it. And software shouldn't just be seen as, just tech. It should be seen as an enabler of growth.
Yeah, and I think that's the huge part there is a lot of people just see these softwares as tools when it's not. That's, those tools that you're using is what's going to actually push you to grow your business.
Drive faith forward.
If everything's just disconnected, it's just going to make things harder. Like we've seen it. We had one client that came to us and he was paying what $800 a month for a system, a tool that he wasn't even using, it wasn't even used. So, we got rid of that, put in a free one, and what that already saved him $800 a month. So it's just making smarter decisions as well.
Yeah, but the thing is, that $800 a month can be allocated to something that's actually going to help drive growth.
Yeah.
You know,
Drive an ROI.
I mean, when we bring on a client, one of the first things we do is we audit the entire business itself in terms of marketing, sales, and growth. And in the end of the day, we're revenue led, so we're all about revenue growth. And that includes things like marketing, sales, and customer success or customer service. If we can provide the business with a better, a better tool set, whether that's an integrated system like ours or, a better integrated system than what they've got or something where you're moving it to the cloud, there's a good chance that we're going to save them a hell of a lot of money. So, I mean, we had a client come on board where they were using a specific, in fact, I'll let you know, it was a CRM or an ERP called NetSuite. Because they were a charity, basically what they were doing is they would have had access to the charity status, which actually reduced the cost of that ERP by over like 60%. So they went from paying like 30,000, sorry, I think it was about $60,000 a year down to about $30,000 a year. So that other $30,000 could be reallocated into something else, which was helping it drive growth. So it's all these things that need to be considered. Not just a case of let's do that because my competitor's doing that, or let's do that because my web agency or my marketing agency said that I need to do this. That's not the way to do it. It's about the business problems and the outcomes that we're trying to achieve.
Yeah. And there's some key problems that smart software is going to solve for you. So it's going to reduce duplication and human error. This is a big one when you've got your CRM and, data enrichment. So you're not, having two duplicate people and sending maybe duplicate emails or texts or, and it reduces that human error as well.
The thing is, I've got a perfect example of that. Is the charity when I was consulting with a charity here in Mackay, they did have this actual problem. So when I was consulting with them, they actually had, because of the type of charity that is, I was dealing with people. Well, like most charities, I suppose, they have donors essentially, and that donor list needs to be deduplicated, especially when people move to different addresses and different towns and things, and they need to know that that's actually happening. And this is where data enrichment comes in, right? Where actually they should know this. So when they were coming at the end of the year, they were doing like an end of year charity gig, like a mail out kind of thing. And what happened is, they were sending out like say 6,000 letters, and they would get like 2,000 back saying that this person had moved or this person was no longer alive, they'd passed away. So what's happening is they're sending people, that had passed away, mm, asking them for to donate and asking the things that need to be considered, depending obviously of the business. I mean, we're focused more on B2B, but all these things need to be considered when you're doing these sort of campaigns. And you're storing customer data, because some of your customers, it might be the case of some of your customers, they maybe use your services for a period of time, or in this charity's case, you don't really want to be getting this charity's use, right? But if something happens medically and you're out in the sea, then you would really want it. But it's just all these things need to be considered.
And that can come across negatively for your brand as well. If you're emailing and calling people asking where they live and they're actually not with us anymore, that's going to have a bit of a negative
100%.
on their family,
I mean, from a branding perspective, that's not what you want.
Mm. So next one is it improves your visibility across sales, marketing, and operations. And this is what we've mentioned multiple times in different podcasts. When, your sales, your marketing, and your operations are all aligned, everybody is going for that same common goal. Everybody knows what's happening, what's where. You get the real, data that you can make decisions from. And it's not just a guessing game anymore.
That's right, and you can proactively make decisions. You don't need to wait to the end of the month to retrospectively make a decision and think to yourself, we should have made that decision 2 weeks ago when we had the data. And this is why data helps make those decisions.
Yeah, because you can predict the future in a sense with how the data has gone.
That's right.
So for the past 3 months, if you're seeing, a 10% increase, say, then you should be able to see another 20 or, you'll be able to
Yeah,
predict that. Next one is it accelerates decision making with real time data, like we just explained. It's a lot easier for you to make those decisions rather than it getting to the point where you're like, "Oh crap, we should have done that. Let's quickly do this." And then everything's rushed and it's not done correctly. It streamlines your workflows so team focus on revenue driving activities. They're not focusing on those low value, activities that aren't going to make your business money.
that's right.
Another key problem that smart software solves is customability. So being able to customize your software, and that's one thing that our clients have as a benefit when they're with us is if they want this calculator created, bang, we can get it created with no problems and no trying to understand different systems, or if you can even do that in different systems like WordPress and Squarespace. We know ours inside and out, so we can just get it done for you.
The thing is, the problem with most systems nowadays is, most web and market agencies will turn to WordPress because that's almost like the
That's what
gold
the goal.
standard.
Yeah.
Aye. And they tend to go to that because that's what they know and it's free. And that means that the web agency or the market agency can make money by selling this free system. And what they do is they get this free system, then they go and install a drag and drop editor, which makes their life easier because they're no programmers, right? What they are is maybe marketers or people learning how to do marketing or maybe a little bit of web design, and then maybe know a little bit of code. So they get these drag and drop editors, drag and drop a design, and from the front end or from a non-technical person, it might look good, right? But what they don't see is see all the stuff that's working in the back end to understand what actually happens when someone types a keyword into the browser. How do they get to the website? How quickly is it performing? What's the technical aspects from it, especially from an SEO aspect? And then you'll need to consider the a lot of the different technical aspects, as in the schema. What schema's been added, because that doesn't get added out of the box. Okay, well now what we need to do is we need to go and install another plugin, which is and all it does is just add bloat and bloat and bloat. And I can remember, like, a few years ago, there was a client came to us, their website took like 14 minutes to load in. I mean, obviously, the 10-second point, we probably should have switched off, but we wanted to see if it actually did ever load in because we just seen that spinner constantly going, and it was like 14 minutes. So, and that was because there was like hundreds of different plugins all trying to do different things on page load, and that's why you need to, when you're choosing an agency or a company to work with like ourselves, you need to make sure that the software that they're delivering, whether it's an off-the-shelf software or part of a service like what ours is, that's actually going to deliver the user experience and that really, at the end of the day, the business outcomes that you're hoping to achieve. Because I'll tell you right now, most of the websites out there don't do it because they are using disconnected tools. When they do need something, they'll go and look at another tool to try and get integrated, or paste this code in and this will happen. Listen, the best way to do it is to have something that's native to the platform that you're using, not just an integration. That's why when we were building MetamorphOS, what we're about is we're about. In fact, we can talk about this at another point, but we're all about making sure that our clients' websites are performant, they're fully integrated with native applications,
Yeah.
native page speed, and all this kind of stuff, so that it takes that complexity out of the management and everyday running of the application and the website, but just makes it super easy for our customers and clients and their teams to manage if
Yeah.
they're doing it on their own.
But you can see that in our, when our clients move over from, say, WordPress or Squarespace and they come onto our platform, you see how quickly their SEO just
Shoots up. Yeah.
shoots up. Yeah. They're in the first page for, almost every keyword. Their website is 100 for the SEO, how quick it is. Sometimes when you flick pages on the websites, you don't even realize it's changed because it's that quick. That's what you need. And then you have all these different integrations into, say, your WordPress site. Sometimes they actually cancel each other out and they don't. So if you've got one tool, you're integrating another tool, that could cancel out this tool. So this tool stops working because you've integrated that. And then, like you said, it just creates that long page load, which, if your website isn't like that, nobody's going to click through and even read it. So there's your first barrier. So anything you have on your website is just irrelevant.
That's right. And with all these different plugins, you've got all these different developers developing these plugins. A lot of them are free, and people think that that's really great because we're getting all this free stuff. But what they're not thinking about is the security, the data governance, and what happens when you get hacked because the person that developed it is doesn't really
Know what they're doing.
doesn't really know what they're doing. They're not baking in security as a priority and these kind of things. And that's what needs to be considered. It's not just a case of let's just try and get something up there as quick as we can. Because what happens is, and I've seen that so many times, is they end up getting hacked. The person that gets the the bad end of that stick is generally the web agency that don't have the website. But then, you know, is it their fault? you know, they probably don't know what's actually happening either. The benefit, I mean, that's one of the massive benefits about working with us. We know exactly what's happening from the moment that your customer sits down or your prospect sits down at a computer and starts typing in what they're looking for. We know exactly what's happening from the browser until they become an advocate of your business.
Yeah.
And all the technical aspects, and that's what we're not just optimizing the business and the market and sales and customer service and operations. We're optimizing the entire user and customer journey.
Yeah. Now, choosing the right tools is, like we've said, and you need to make sure that you're choosing the right tools and not just choosing stuff for the sake of choosing it. So focus on integration. Your tools should work together, not create silos. And you need to be very smart about what tools you're going to use. Like we've just said, they can have a negative effect on your business. And if you're storing customers' data and that gets leaked, you've lost customers. I'll tell you that. Next one is scalability. So will your platform support your growth for the next 2 to 3 years? If your platform's only going to get you 6 months, then what's the point of you investing that money into that platform when you can invest your money into a platform that's going to support your growth for the next 3, 4, 5, 10 years? That's exactly what our software does. Everything's customized. Everything, it grows with your business, evolves with your business.
That's exactly right. And that's an important point because the like HubSpot came out with a term called growth driven design, and the whole point of growth driven design was to try and educate people that your website isn't a one done and that's it. Thank you, ma'am, type thing. It's always got to be evolving. I mean, our whole brand and ethos is all about transformation. It's all about evolution and growth. And that includes your website and every single part of the business that we touch. It's always about growth and being that 1% better every single day. And your platform is a big, massive part of that, and so is your website. And you should, every B2B business out there, in fact, every business should actually be looking at their website as another sales tool, not just a sales tool, in fact, but another revenue driven drive engine, right? So what we do is we're always optimizing based on the data that we get from our system and the customer use and things like that. And we're always, optimizing. And it's not just about getting a design, like most people, what generally happens with most businesses, they go to a web design agency, marketing agency, they design what they think is a website. They might have done some research into customer behavior, customer psychology of colors, conversion psychology, and all that kind of stuff. Few of them do, right? Few of them do that, because most of them do design in like Photoshop, show the customer. The customer knows nothing different anyway, because they see it, they think, oh yeah, that's nice, and then they launch their website. Nothing happens. That doesn't drive leads because they're maybe not investing in advertising. They're not getting the return that they expect, and then they think marketing is wrong. And that's how it generally works. And then every 2 to 3 years, the web agency will say, oh, well, your website's now looking old. What you need to do is you need to get a new web design, which is really just to feed their coppers. And that's not how it should happen. What should happen is you should have a growth partner like Adonis, and you should always be optimizing, always. It's not just a case of, oh, that looks that looks good, let's do this. Or, you should always be testing. You know, I mean, there's things in like every different industry, which works for one, doesn't work for others. Different colors, button placement, CTA placements, all this kind of stuff.
Content
All
placements,
and even down to the content and the way that you're speaking, you know, does it resonate with your customer? There's so many different things that need to be considered. But your platform is something that should always be evolving and always growing. And if you're not speaking to your growth partner, weekly, sometimes daily, in fact, monthly, to see what needs to happen to make sure you're still driving 60 leads a month, 40, 50, 60 leads a month, that you're still driving you're still doing brand marketing, which a lot of people don't do, which they need to be focused on now, especially with the advent of AI. You need to be thinking maybe the person that built my website maybe quite isn't what I'm looking for. I need a growth partner like Adonis, where they're going to actually help us drive 3,000% growth. That sounds a bit crazy, but I mean, most businesses look for if you can get like a 20% growth on last year in terms of revenue, that's good. We always try and go for more than that, 100%. So anyway, my point being is scalability is massive. Now, because we also provide our customers, I mean, we've got shared hosting accounts in that as well for the application, but the application can be um, installed and used on a software, a server which is in a country of their choice, where we support that kind of stuff, so that they're not sharing resources with other customers. And that's a big thing as well. I mean, hosting is sometimes an afterthought for a lot of companies because they think the website just works somewhere in the cloud. There's a lot of different things to think about that as well. But I'll not go too much into the technical aspects, but those things need to be considered, and that's something that we consider from the get-go.
Hmm. The next one is ease of use and complexity. So your tool should simplify and make your life easy, not complicate it or make it harder or make more time for you to get stuff done. It should take away that pain, make life easy for you, get things done quick so that you can focus on those high value tasks.
That's correct. And I mean, that's what we do when, as soon as we bring on a new client, our team does all that stuff. We set everything up. We migrate the old website to the new platform. We help set up the CRM. We help to get the social media accounts all connected so that everything's starting to work quickly and cohesively from day one. And that also helps avoid tool sprawl as well, so that you've got fewer smarter tools which often outperform a patchwork different apps and tools out there. So rather than having, MailChimp, WordPress, HubSpot or whatever else, other CRM, you've got one system with ours, and you don't need to worry about that tool sprawl.
And that's like that one business, that came over to us, and he was doing the $800 the tool with he was doing this, and then he was doing that, but that wasn't connecting with this, and that wasn't connecting with that, so everything was just everywhere. And what we did is we put him on our one platform, and then everything was connected, and it made life easier for him, and ended up doubling his revenue in 12 months. So
Well, it was actually 9 months. I mean, it took us about a few months to get everything migrated over. So in 9 months, we went from 1.6 million to 3 million. So, I mean, that to me is pretty good going, considering it took them 6 years to get to 1.6 million, And I mean, that at the end of the day, having a seamless connected system, it can help uh, businesses stop wasting time switching between 5, 6 unconnected apps. Instead, uh, they've got this one centralized platform, which is what our system is pretty much all about.
yeah. So we're gonna go and talk to a little bit about our system, which is a MetamorphOS, and why we feel that's a game changer, and if you're not using it, you should be using it. So I'll let Derek, he's actually the one that has created this full system over the last couple years. So I'll let him take the reins, and you could talk about this a bit.
Yeah, why not? I mean, I'll try and keep it untechnical as I possibly can. But basically, the reason that this system came about is, I've been developing. I'm a software engineer to trade. We've been helping businesses with websites and software, SEO and that kind of stuff way back in the day before SEO was really a thing. And I was focused more on building websites and e-commerce platforms. But when you're building on other people's stuff, it starts to become complex because the way that the platform works, like for instance, WordPress was a blog system and it still is. It's not really a CMS. It's got all these different plugins to try and plug in to make it like a CMS, but it's just no quite there. Joomla was our favorite. It was a fantastic system, still is. But again, there's still things about that just you're waiting for updates, and go from version 1 to version 2 is an absolute drama when you're trying to upgrade, and I was just causing more headaches than I really wanted to deal with. So I thought to myself, you know what? I think, yeah, I mean, we actually immigrated to Australia 8 years ago. I think it was about a year into us being there. I started to think that it's maybe time I started building my own system, which means that we can build it exactly the way that we need it. And it'll help us, operationally, from a marketing, sales, and customer service point of view. So that's what I started to do. So I started to build Adonis. At the time, it was called Adonis CMS. And I wanted essentially an all-in-one solution which could reduce the friction and complexity, not just from our point of view as being the builders of the application, and so we weren't having to try and get a plugin or extension from someone or some other developer that's not developed it correctly, install it, only realise the actual practice pretty crap code, and 99% of call code out there is crap. That's just the bottom line. Based on my own, my own value, not so much values, coding standards, if you like. So I wanted to create that one solution. So that meant that Adonis CMS was born. So I've been building that pretty much over the past 5 to 6 years. Um, and it's helped streamline operations across marketing, sales, and customer service for ourselves. Then what we started to do was, rather than build out open source applications, open source websites like Joomla, we started offering our application as an alternative. And it's just been absolutely brilliant for our customers, especially from an instant SEO aspect. I mean, obviously, it is still a tool. It still requires some human intervention, especially from a content creation point of view. But we've integrated things like AI, which helps us build that content around that user's brand. And so the first thing that we done was we built out the CMS aspect, so the content management system, and then at that point AI wasn't a thing, so content was much slower to develop and get out there into the world. So we made a solid CMS to begin with. Since the advent of AI, we've integrated AI, so you can now create content from inside the admin. We've built in a whole brand system, so you can put in your ICP, you can put in your brand information on there, your tone of voice, your the issues that you solve, who you're targeting. And what happens is when you're creating content in admin now, it's actually brand aware. So it takes that information from your brand section and actually creates content which is focused on your prospect, and it's all brand aware, which understands their problems, their challenges, how your solutions can help them grow their business, essentially. So it also helps teams to scale without burnout, and the way it does that is it not only helps with the whole content production and publishing of that content, but it also helps with social media. So we've got a whole social media system integrated, which allows you to connect all your social media accounts with a focus on B2B, of course. And what you can do is you can create posts for different platforms. You can create posts for different accounts, which includes, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, Threads, Pinterest, YouTube, which is a massive one. We've got Google Business Profile integrated as well, and we'll continue to improve all of this as time goes on. And so not only can we post content, but we can also manage it from there. So we can import content that's been previously added. We can also automatically syncs content, or adding in a whole section for pushing CEOs and founder-led kind of content as well. So we'll have that stuff in there. We've got reputation management in there, so we can actually, we can invite people to come and leave a review. We're hoping to add video reviews to that just shortly, but this is all automated, this stuff. So once your client goes into the CRM, which is integrated, and they're going to move through the user journey process. When we go into a new user, and we change the status to launched, then what we can do is we can wait like 3 weeks, and then we can ping off an email for a review for that customer, and then the customer comes back, adds a review, and then we can get them to leave that on other review platform of their choice. But we want to be the single source of truth, just in case something happens on that third-party site, which includes Google, by the way. And there's a whole host of other things on there. But the whole point of this is to take all that stress and time taken for teams to do this stuff and get the system to do it. And we will be, as we move into Q1 in 2026, we're already looking at our own internal MCP platform for AI, so that we can create agents to actually do this work as well from admin, so that you don't even need to do it. So what will happen is we can create a social media agent, and that social media agent will be given tasks throughout the month to create brand aware content and automatically post it to all these different places. Because we are monitoring the social media platforms as well, and when new comments and things come in, that agent, which is completely branded and understands what our brand is, and this will be the same for our clients, will automatically be able to comment or send a reply to that comment, and send an action, and it's just going to free up people's time to work on the higher level things or tasks within the business. There's a whole host of other things coming. We're going to be adding the ability to actually create a complete business plan, marketing, sales, customer success, different plans for them, so that they're all cohesive. We are big advocates, and of course we are SOSTAC certified planners, so we'll probably integrate that in there as well.
Yeah, there'll be lots coming.
We've got like a proposal system in there coming. We're integrating e-commerce. There's a whole host of things happening as well. So it's definitely something that, if people are looking for to get that one single solution and grow with us, then reach out and speak to us.
Yeah, the whole point of Adonis existing is that we're your growth partner. We're not just a subscription, or a marketing agency. We're definitely not a marketing agency. We're a growth partner. We come in as a partner to your business and really look at everything, look at the holistic approach into how you can generate more revenue, build a brand, create a business that thrives, that you love being, in as well.
Yeah, that's right. I
Just
mean,
not a marketing agency.
that's right. I mean, I would say that we're carving out our own category whereby we are a revenue-led growth partner. So we're all about revenue, or we do still cover metrics. I mean, it's still important to see what things are happening at a lower level in terms of your ads and who's clicking, what's happening in terms of conversions. But at the end of the day, we're all about increasing revenue and decreasing sales velocity and CAC, or customer acquisition cost. We want to be driving more revenue at a less cost. That's the bottom line.
Yeah.
And that takes more than just marketing.
Some common pitfalls when you're choosing software is buying the latest shiny tool just because it's new and everyone's hyping it up without even having a strategy. As overcomplicating workflows instead of simplifying it, ignoring integration and scalability, failing to train your staff or adopt the software fully, which is what we've seen with our client, is he didn't actually adopt the software fully, so he didn't actually understand it, which caused him to just pay for it without actually even utilizing it.
Yeah, but that's a big problem in the SaaS industry, right? Where people they buy tools expecting the tool to solve all their problems, but it's not. It's just a tool, and when you've got all these other disconnected tools, there's a learning curve for that. So that's going to be a cost to the business. That's why as a revenue-led growth partner, we're going in and we're actually doing all the heavy lifting for you. So that you can focus on the high-value tasks, and that's where the difference is made. And that's where the value is created.
Some actionable takeaways that I want you guys to implement this week is I want you to audit your current tools, which systems are slowing your growth and which can accelerate it. Choose software that integrates, scales, and automates key processes. Map your workflows and identify automation opportunities. Train your team to use the tools effectively, and track metrics to ensure that your software is delivering results, not just features. So next week on the Adonis Effect, we're exploring the future of customer experience and retention. We're going to show you how to keep clients loyal, increase their lifetime value, and turn one-time buyers into brand advocates. So don't miss out. Cool. Well, we'll see you on the next one. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys.